بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ما بعد. Now, so we begin, أيها الإخوة, على بركة الله, with reading into the next kitab, Kitab al-Ilm, the book of knowledge from Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī, the book that follows on after the book which we completed by the Fadl of Allah, Kitab al-Iman, which we read from Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī with the explanation of Shaykh Zayd hafidhahullāh ta'ala. And we decided to continue with reading into Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī, and in particular this kitab, Kitab al-Ilm, the book of knowledge, but this time with the explanation of Shaykh Zayd al-Madkhalī. Shaykh Zayd ibn Muhammad ibn Hadi al-Madkhalī, raḥimahullāh, from the Mashayikh, also from the Mashayikh al-Sunnah and Salafiyya, from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, from as-Samitah, that region which is in the southern part of Saudi Arabia, al-Jazan, from the Mashayikh from as-Samitah, raḥimahullāh. And this kitab in Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī, Kitab al-Ilm, it follows on from Kitab al-Iman. And as mentioned in the very beginning, when we began reading into Kitab al-Iman, al-Bukhārī himself, he didn't just randomly put the books together and the abwab and the chapters together, but rather, as the scholars they say, that al-Bukhārī, we can extract many benefits from his fiqh and from his understanding and from the way he authored this Sahih, and how he, and his tabweeb, and how he formed the chapters together and the kutub. We can take many benefits, and there are many lata'if and hidden benefits, or beautiful benefits that we can take from al-Bukhārī in how he authored this kitab. And we mentioned that Kitab al-Iman was preceded by the Kitab al-Wahi, the book of revelation, and then we had Kitab al-Iman, and now Kitab al-Ilm. And the reason why he began with al-Wahi is because al-Wahi, the revelation, the book of revelation, al-Wahi is the first thing which is needed and required. Al-Wahi, the revelation. Na'am, yes, every person is born upon the fitrah. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة, as the Rasul he mentioned, that every person, every child that is born upon the fitrah, the fitrah to believe in Allah Ta'ala as him being his khaliq and his Rabb and his sustainer and provider and so on. This is something which is from the fitrah, and every person is born with this natural disposition. And so yes, a person is born with that. However, the wahi is still needed, as it relates to the iman that we have in the detailed matters. Yes, a person is born upon the fitrah, he believes in his Lord, and he knows that Allah Ta'ala created him, and he is one. However, the iman in the angels, for example, iman in the books which have preceded, and iman in the last day, iman in Jannah and Nar, and the details on the sifat of Jannah and Nar, the Sirat, for example, the bridge over the fire, Dajjal, and all of those things which we have been told concerning the last day. And all of that we cannot come to from the fitrah, meaning it requires wahi. All of that requires revelation, and so iman can only come about, meaning iman in those things can only come about after revelation, after wahi. So that's why he began with wahi. Al-Bukhārī, he began with Kitab al-Wahi, book of revelation, and then iman, because once the wahi comes, once the revelation comes, you have to have, it's wajib and obligatory to have iman in all of that. That which has come from Allah in the book of Allah and from the Sunnah of the Rasul, the authentic Sunnah, then it is obligatory to have iman in that. That is what follows after the revelation. And so hence he came with Kitab al-Iman. And as we know from our aqeedah and our belief as Muslims, that iman requires action. Iman requires amal. Iman requires amal, and that is why we find in many verses in the Quran, throughout the Quran, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, action is always mentioned with iman. And the short surah that we, بإذن all of us, we know, Al-Asr, Wal-Asr, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Actions mentioned immediately after Iman. But given the fact that actions require ilm, that is why al-Bukhari, he brought ilm before the rest of the chapters now. The rest of the chapters are going to be concerning actions. Tahara, wudu, ghusl, salah, zakat, hajj, jihad, sawm, and so on till the end. All of those are actions. And actions require ilm, require knowledge, and knowledge comes before speech and action. Knowledge comes before actions. And so hence, why al-Bukhari, he came with Kitab al-Ilm as the next kitab after Kitab al-Iman, and before beginning the other books. And so we see the fiqh of Imam al-Bukhari here, the tremendous fiqh that the Imam he had. Now, and he begins this kitab, so we begin reading into the sharh and the explanation of Kitab al-Ilm, as we mentioned, with the sharh of Shaykh Zayd al-Madkhalī raḥimahullāh. And we'll try to bring some benefits from other mashayikh also. But the first bab and the first chapter within this kitab, and for those who are following, it was, I believe, somewhat of a difficult book to get hold of, and quite expensive also. And so again, we'll be following the same method in reading out the Arabic, so as to try and aid us in understanding the Arabic language, learning the language of our religion. So we can see all of these books, like the Quran first and foremost, the Ṣaḥīḥ Imam al-Bukhārī and Muslim, and all of the books of hadith, and the books of the ulama in Arabic, because that is the language of this religion. And so that we continue in that same manner in order for us to try and improve our understanding of the language. Now, so Bab Fadl al-Ilm. Bab Fadl al-Ilm, the chapter concerning the virtue of knowledge and the superiority of knowledge. Now, Bukhari, he begins with this because it is munasib and relevant to discuss the virtues of this particular kitab. And if you're going to discuss knowledge and bring ahadith and come to learn of ahadith connected to knowledge, then it is befitting that we begin and that the reader he learns concerning the virtues of knowledge, and that is why he began with Fadl al-Ilm. Now, and everything which is going to follow within this Kitab al-Ilm, is connected to knowledge, the adab of knowledge, the mannerisms of knowledge, the adab of the muta'allim, the mannerisms of the student, the one who seeks knowledge, and the mu'allim and the teacher. Many masail connected to knowledge. As we're going to see a hadith which also contain throughout the kitab, contain virtues of that knowledge, how that knowledge is disseminated, how that knowledge is preserved and passed on, and so on, how that knowledge is going to be lifted, who are those who carry this knowledge, and so on. Many matters connected to al-ilm. Now, Bab Fadl al-Ilm, the chapter, the virtue and superiority of knowledge. وقول الله تعالى, and the saying of Allah the Most High, يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير. وقوله عز وجل وقل رب زدني علما وقل رب زدني علما. And so al-Bukhari, he suffices with 2 verses from the Quran within this chapter, which shows to us again, this is a book of fiqh. Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī is not just a book of hadith, it's a book of fiqh. Because he's not just bringing a hadith, he's brought ayat here. And so he's using as evidence verses from the Quran to bring across his point. And that first verse you heard was the verse in Surah Al-Mujadala, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ. That Allah will raise in degree those amongst you who believe, وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ, and those amongst you who have been granted knowledge and given knowledge and blessed with knowledge. Darajat, He will raise them in degrees. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ, and Allah is all acquainted with that which you do. And the saying of Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Taha, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, meaning, and this is a command to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and say, Rabbi zidni ilma, my Lord, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Naam. So these are two verses that Al-Bukhārī brings in this chapter. Shaykh Zayd al-Madkhalī, raḥimahullāh, he begins after the hamdalah, to saying alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. He says, قال المؤلف رحمه الله, the author, he said, in al-Bukhārī, he said, kitab al-ilm. He said, the book of knowledge. And al-kitab fil lugha, the word al-kitab and the meaning of al-kitab in the Arabic language is al-dhamm wal-jam'. Al-dhamm wal-jam'. Al-dhamm means to bring together. And likewise al-jam', to join something together, bring something, things together. Al-dhamm wal-jam'. Similar, very similar meaning. وفي الاصطلاح, and in the istilah, meaning in the terminology of the Sharia, اسم لجملة من العلم. It is a noun that is used to, or which comes with the meaning of جملة من العلم. It is a compilation of knowledge and the gathering of knowledge. Now, يشتمل على أبواب وفصول. A kitab which comprises of, and so this kitab is a gathering and a compilation of knowledge which consists of and comprises of abwab wa fusul. Abwab, the plural of bab, and fusul, the plural of fasl. So it comprises of chapters, headings, and categories. Now, wal-ilm al-murad bihi al-ilm al-shar'i. And the intent behind knowledge here, kitab al-ilm, the book of knowledge, the intent behind this word knowledge in this kitab is al-ilm al-shar'i, the knowledge of the sharia, the legislative knowledge, which is derived from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Rasul. Hence the Shaykh, he said al-mustamad, derived. That knowledge al-shar'i, which is al-mustamad, derived min kitabillah wa sahihi sunnati rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That knowledge which is derived from the book of Allah and the authentic sunnah of the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وقد امتن الله به على عبده ورسوله محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. And Allah تبارك وتعالى, He blessed with this knowledge His servant and His messenger Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقال عز وجل, فقال عز من قائل, and so he said, may he who said as such be magnified, or may he who said this be magnified. وَعَلَّمَكَ مَا لَمْ تَكُنْ تَعْلَمْ. So the Shaykh now, he quotes an ayah from Surah An-Nisa. وَعَلَّمَكَ مَا لَمْ تَكُنْ تَعْلَمْ وَكَانَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ عَظِيمًا. And He taught you, meaning Allah, He taught you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, مَا لَمْ تَكُنْ تَعْلَمْ, that which you did not know. وَكَانَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ عَظِيمًا. And the grace of Allah upon you is great and tremendous. Now, وَفَضْلُ الْعِلْمِ, and the meaning of the فضل العلم, or the intent behind فضل العلم, the Shaykh, he says, is ma'lum. It is well known, and the virtues of knowledge is well known. من نصوص الكتاب والسنة, from the text, from the kitab, from the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. وكم من آية كريمات جاء فيها الحث على العناية بالعلم والترغيب فيه. And how many from the verses, from the noble verses in the Quran, came with encouragement and to have concern, inaya, concern for knowledge. And how many verses have come encouraging upon knowledge, to acquire knowledge, and likewise to be concerned with knowledge, والترغيب فيه, and likewise how many of the verses came with targhib, it's very similar to hath, and encouraging and motivating, encouraging the believers to acquire that knowledge. وأنه لا يزول الجهل إلا بالعلم, and the fact that ignorance will not be removed except through knowledge. وَالْعِلْمُ مَا جَاءَ بِهِ الرُّسُلُ الْكِرَامُ وَالْأَنْبِيَاءُ الْعِظَامُ. And knowledge is that which the noble messengers came with, and the Anbiya al-Idham, and the great prophets. Al-Kiram al-Idham, for the brothers who are studying Arabic, then this is something we learned recently. This is Jam'u al-Kathra. Jam'u al-Kathra on the pattern of al-Fi'al. Al-Fi'al, when we say Sigar, Kibar, Tiwal, and so on, Qisar. Al-Kiram and Idham, both on the same pattern. So al-Rusul al-Kiram, the noble messengers, and the al-Anbiya al-Idham, the great prophets. Min indillah, yani that knowledge which they came with from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقد أخبر الله تبارك وتعالى عن العلم بأنه ميراث لأمة الاتباع. And Allah تبارك وتعالى, He informed and He told us that this knowledge is mirath, it is inheritance and heritage for this ummah, the ummah of al-ittiba', the ummah that follows, the ummah that follows its prophet. فقال جل وعلا, and so he said, ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير. ثم أورثنا الكتاب, then we caused to inherit the kitab, يعني the Quran. الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا, those who we chose from our servants. فمنهم ظالم لنفسه, and this verse consists of the three categories of the believers. The believers, the mu'minun, are of three types. This verse mentions these three types. Minhum, from them, those who inherited the kitab, the Quran. ظالم لنفسه, the one who oppressed himself. ومنهم مقتصد, and from them the one who is muqtasid, meaning took a middle course. ومنهم سابق بالخيرات, and from them the one who used to race and hasten to khayrat, performing good and the good deeds. بإذن الله, by the permission of Allah. ذلك هو الفضل الكبير, and that is indeed a great grace from Allah. Now, وقد ذكر أهل التحقيق من المفسرين أن هؤلاء الأصناف الثلاثة الذين ورثوا علم الكتاب والسنة ليسوا سواء بل أعلاهم منزلة السابقون بالخيرات. And so the scholars of tafsir, those scholars who know the meanings of the ayat and study and compile the meanings of the verses of the Quran, they have mentioned that these three types which have been mentioned within this verse are not equal, and they're not the same. بل أعلاهم منزلة السابقون بالخيرات. Rather, the highest of them in station is the سابقون بالخيرات, those who used to hasten and race to good deeds. ويليهم المقتصدون, and following them in station is those who took the middle course, المقتصدون. Now, ويلي المقتصدين الظالمون أنفسهم, and following on after the muqtasidin, those who took the middle course, are those who used to oppress themselves. And these are the three categories of the believers: those who used to hasten to good deeds, those who took the middle course, and then those who used to oppress themselves. And the Shaykh will explain who, in detail about who they are. فأما السابقون فهم قوم سارعوا في الخيرات واجتهدوا فسبقوا غيرهم. The sabiqun, those who used to hasten and race to good, they are people who they hastened, they rushed to performing good deeds. واجتهدوا, and they used to strive hard, and so they preceded those besides them. وهم المؤدون للفرائض, and this is another way in distinguishing them. They are those who performed and carried out the obligations, the fara'id, the wajibat. They used to fulfill them. المكثرون من النوافل, and they used to be plentiful in performing the optional actions, the optional deeds from the sunnah, from the actions which are from the sunnah, and from the mustahabbat, and from the nawafil. التاركون للمحرم والمكروه, they would leave off and avoid the muharram, that which is haram, and even the makruh, and the things which are disliked. The things which are disliked. Now, they would even avoid those things which are lesser than the haram. They would even avoid those things. Now, so it's mentioned also that even some of them would leave the mubahat. They would even leave those things which are allowed from their taqwa and from being cautious. Now, وأما المقتصدون فهم قوم اقتصروا في العمل على ما وجب عليهم وتركوا المحرم عليهم. The muqtasidun, those who took a middle path, they are those who just restricted themselves to that which is obligatory upon them, and they left off whatever is haram upon them. So they didn't increase upon those fara'id, those obligations. They didn't come with the mustahabbat and the nawafil, but they just carried out the obligations upon them. That's all they did. And the haram, they stayed away from the haram. They stayed away from the haram. Now, this is the muqtasidun, those who took the middle course. أما الظالمون أنفسهم فهم أصحاب المعاصي التي هي دون الكفر الأكبر أو الشرك الأكبر أو النفاق الاعتقادي أو الإلحاد المخرج من ملة الإسلام. As for the ظالمون and those who oppress themselves, then they are those who would perform the sins, those sins which are lesser than the major form of shirk, which expels from the religion. Likewise, the major form of kufr, the major form of disbelief, and the nifaq and the hypocrisy and i'tiqad. As we know also, nifaq there's nifaq al-akbar and nifaq al-asghar. There's a major form of hypocrisy and a minor form of hypocrisy. The major form of hypocrisy is the hypocrisy in belief. And the minor form of hypocrisy is the hypocrisy in actions. So, for example, a believer, he makes a promise, he breaks that promise. That's an action of the hypocrites. However, it's not something which is connected to belief, and it doesn't expel him from al-Islam. Now, and so the dhalimun did not perform any of these. The major shirk, the major kufr, the major hypocrisy. Or al-ilhad, or anything which is from heresy. That heresy which al-mukhrij min millat al-Islam, which takes a person outside the fold of Islam. Now, فكلهم اصطفاه الله تعالى لوراثة هذا الكتاب. And so all of these three, they are all believers. The highest level we know are those who used to race to good. The foremost of those who used to do that, carry out the obligation, stay away from the haram, and they would come with the option of the anbiya. The anbiya, the prophets of Allah, the Rasul, and the best of the believers, the Sahaba and so on, the ulama and so on. And then you have the muqtasidun, those who were took a middle course, those who fulfilled the obligations, stayed away from the haram. And then you have those who used to oppress themselves. They fell into sins. Now, lesser than those sins which take a person outside of Islam. Kufr, shirk, and nifaq, and ilhad. Now, Shaykh, he says, but all of them, Allah chose them to inherit the kitab, meaning the Quran. وَإِن تَفَاوَتَتْ مَرَاتِبُهُم, even though their levels differ and vary. وَتَمَيَّزَتْ أَحْوَالُهُم, and even though their conditions are distinguished from, or you can distinguish them from each other. You can distinguish the sabiqeen from the muqtasideen and the muqtasideen from the zalimin li anfusihim, even though you can distinguish between their conditions and they differ. فَلِكُلٍّ مِّنْهُمْ قِسْطٌ مِّن وِرَاثَتِهِ, but for every one of them there is a nasib, a portion from inheriting, or the inheritance of the Quran. حتى الظالم لنفسه, even the one who used to oppress himself. فإنما معه من أصل الإيمان وعلوم الإيمان وأعماله من ورثة الكتاب. Indeed, even the one who used to fall into sins and oppress himself, then even him, he has a portion of inheriting this Quran due to that which is with him from the asl al-Iman, the foundation of Iman that is found with him, the ulum al-Iman, and the knowledge of Iman that he has with him, and likewise his actions, any actions which he did perform by way of good actions, then all of that is from inheriting the Quran. وَكَانَ مِن لَدُنْ آدَمَ, alayhi salam. And so from the Shaykh continues and he says that since or from the time of Adam إلى تمام 10 قرون, up until the completion of 10 generations. So since the time of Adam until the completion of 10 and the passing of 10 generations, كان الناس على ملة السمحة في توحيد الله تبارك وتعالى. And the people, they were upon the religion of as-Samha. And as-Samha, as we know, we covered that in Kitab al-Iman. That is the religion of ease and tolerance. Al-Islam is the religion of as-Samha, al-Hanafiyya. Al-Hanafiyya being tawheed of Allah. And Samha, likewise, ease and tolerance. Ease and tolerant bi-ahkami. That's the meaning of that. Islam is a religion of Samha, meaning ease and tolerance, in the sense that it is a religion of ease. It doesn't burden a person more than he can bear. And tolerance, in the sense, and when we say bi-ahkami, through its rulings, meaning through that which Allah has legislated. And so we know that, for example, if a person, as an example, in the salah he can't stand, he can sit. If you're sick, then you don't have to attend the jama'ah. If you're traveling, you don't have to fast, and so on. When you're traveling, you shorten your salah, and so on. This is tolerance. This is ease. Not how is interpreted by many of those who compromise in the religion. They use the likes of those ahadith that mention that the religion is the religion of samha, by saying that it's a religion of tolerance, and so we can unify ourselves with the Jews and Christians, and it's all one. It's just one religion. So now if they compromise in the tawheed of Allah and so on, they compromise in the religion. Say in the name of tolerance, samha. This is the wrong interpretation of samha. Samha means that ease and tolerance bi ahkami, through the rulings of the religion. Now, فَلَمَّا طَالَ الزَّمَنِ, and so the Shaykh says that when a long time had passed, وَنُسِيَ الْعِلْمِ, and knowledge was forgotten, حَلَّ مَحَلَّهُ الْجَهَلِ, ignorance took its place. Ignorance took the place of knowledge. وَفَشَى فِي النَّاسِ, and it spread amongst the people. And ignorance spread amongst the people. فَعُبِدَتَ الْأَصْنَامِ وَالْأَوْثَانِ, and the idols were worshipped. And the idols were worshipped again. نتيجة الجهل وقلة العلم. Due to ignorance, and that occurred as a result of ignorance and little knowledge being present. فأرسل الله أول رسول إلى أهل الأرض وهو نوح عليه الصلاة والسلام. And so Allah sent the first of the messengers to the people of the earth, and he was Nuh عليه السلام. فدعا قومه, and he called his people. كما قص الله عز وجل دعوته, as Allah, he narrated to us his da'wah, the call of Nuh, في مدة طويلة من الزمن, to a long duration of time. Through a long duration of time, Nuh alayhi salam was calling his people. دعاهم إلى توحيد الله, he called them to the tawheed of Allah. وَنَبْذِ عِبَادَةِ مَا سَوَاء, and to do away with the worship of others besides him. وَجَهَدَ فِيهِمْ جِهَادًا حَكِيمًا فِي مُدَّةٍ طَوِيلَةٍ جَمَعَاتٍ وَفُرَادًا, and he strove against them with a jihad which was full of wisdom. A jihad, a striving which was full of wisdom, حكيمًا في مدة طويلة, again 950 years, as we know, long duration, 950 years, جماعات وفرادى, calling them in groups but also calling them individually. Now this was Nuh alayhi salam. ودعاهم ليلا ونهارا وذلك بالعلم الشرعي الذي تلقاه من الخلاق العليم. And he called them both day and night, with the ilm al-shar'i, the legislated knowledge from Allah, which he talaqahu, he received and took from al-khallaq, Allah, the creator, and al-alim, the all-knowing. Now, ومن هنا نتذكر فضيلة العلم, and through this we can recall and remember now the virtue of knowledge. Since when knowledge became little, and when it left and it was forgotten, then this is what happened. Jahl took its place, ignorance took its place, and Allah had to send another messenger. He sent the first messenger. Now, وأنه لا يزيل الجهل إلا العلم الشرعي. And there is nothing that can remove ignorance except for the العلم الشرعي. وأن حاجة الناس إلى العلم الشرعي أعظم من حاجتهم إلى الطعام والشراب وأعظم من حاجتهم إلى النفس الذي لا يستغنى عنه. And the Shaykh, he says that the need of the people towards this knowledge is greater than the need that they have for food and drink, or the need that they have for food and drink, and even greater than that need that they have for an-nafas, breathing, الذي لا يستغنى عنه, which we can't do without. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. However, many of the people, or most of the people, do not know هذه الحاجة. They're not aware of this need. التي يتعين على العلماء بيانها للناس, which is obligatory upon the scholars and upon those who know, the ulama, those who have ilm, that they clarify this to the people. حقا إن الجاهل بحاجة إلى أن يتعلم كيف يعبد الله. So truly the ignorant person is in need of learning how to worship Allah تبارك وتعالى. ومن أعطاه الله شيئا من العلم في أمس الحاجة إلى الزيادة ليكون إماما للناس وليكون حجة كما كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حجة. Now, and so the Shaykh, he said that whoever Allah has blessed with something from knowledge, then he is in fi amassil haja, then he is in dire need. He is in dire need of a ziyada, of increase in that knowledge. يتكون إماما, that he may be an imam and a leader to the people or for the people. وليكون حجة, and that he may be a hujjah and an evidence and a proof to them, for them. كما كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حجة, just as the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was also a hujjah and a proof. قال الله عز وجل يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا. O people, there has indeed come to you burhan, a proof, a clear proof, من ربكم, from your Lord. وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا, and we reveal, or we sent down to you nuran mubina, a manifest clear light, the Quran. The nur here, the meaning here, وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا, the nur here, my brothers, is not as the Braille we say, that they use this as a proof that look, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is nur. Here the tafsir of this, if you go back to the books of tafsir, Ibn Kathir and Ibn Jarir and others, you'll find that the nur here is the Quran. Allah mentioned the previous books, the Torah, the Injil given to Isa al-Islam, given to Jesus, so the Torah as being also nur. The books can be referred to as nur because they are light through which the people are guided. The burhan that's mentioned in the burhan, and the proof that's been mentioned in this verse, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ برهان, that is the Prophet ﷺ. That is the Prophet ﷺ if you go back to the tafsir. Now, فالبرهان, and as the Shaykh he mentions here, فالبرهان هو محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. The burhan, the evidence and the clear proof is Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. He is the burhan. He is the one who came to them. لأنه حجة ساطعة, because he is a shining proof, clear, radiant proof. ساطعة means to be shining and radiant. جاء بالعلم الشرعي الذي تجلى في الأوامر لتمتثل. He came with that علم الشرعي through which تجلى في الأوامر لتمتثل. Now, which became apparent through the commands, in order that they be, that the Rasul is taken as an example in those commands. He showed them, he came as a proof, showed them the commands, how to carry out those commands. And so they take him as an example, and they follow him in that. وفي النواهي لتجتنب, and he came again as a proof, as it relates to the nawahi and the prohibitions, showing them how to, what to refrain from, what to stay away from. لتجتنب, so they may be avoided. وبيان الحلال والحرام وسائر الأحكام, and likewise he came with explaining the halal, the lawful matters, and the haram, the unlawful matters, and the rest of the ahkam, the rest of the rulings. ليمتثل ذلك كله, And so that all of those things can be carried out, and that the Rasul be followed in those things. وهكذا النور المبين. And likewise the clear manifest light هو القرآن الكريم. It is the Quran al-Kareem. نعم. فهو نور يهتدى به. And so it is a light through which people are guided. نعم. ولا هداية إلا به وبالوحي الثاني. And there is no guidance except through it, meaning the Quran, وبالوحي الثاني, and the second revelation, ألا وهي السنة الكريمة. And indeed that second revelation is the noble sunnah of the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. لذا, therefore, فإن الله تبارك وتعالى أرسل رسله بالعلم الشرعي مبشرين ومنذرين وختمهم بنبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بأكمل شريعة وأيسرها وأسهلها. And that is, therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent the messengers with that ilm al-shari as givers of glad tidings and warners. And He sealed them, khatamahum, and He sealed the messengers with our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi'akmal sharia, with the most complete of legislations. وَأَيْسَرِهَا وَأَسْهَلِهَا, very similar in meaning. أَيْسَرِهَا, the most facilitating and the most easy of the religions, of the legislations. لأنه آخر الرسل, because he was the last of the messengers. وأمته آخر الأمم, and his nation are the last of the nations. كما في السنن, as has come in the Sunan. أنتم توفون 70 أمة. أنتم توفون تكملون. أنتم توفون you complete. You as a nation, you complete 70 nations, meaning Allah sent 70 nations, you are the 70th nation. Now, أنتم آخرها, you are the last of them, you are the last of the nations. وأكرمها على الله, you are the last of them and the most noblest and best of them to Allah. Now, and as we know in the Quran, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس, that you are the best of nations brought forward. تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. نعم, you command the good, you forbid the evil, and you believe in Allah. نعم, in Surah Al-Imran. فجاء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بالعلم الشرعي. So the Shaykh, he continued, he says that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he came with that knowledge of the Sharia. والناس في ظلمات الجهل وسوء الغواية. He came to them once the people were in the darkness of ignorance and the evil of al-ghawaya, sin and error. فأنقذ الله بما جاء به من شاء من خليقته من العرب والعجم والقاصي والداني إلا من أبى. And so Allah, by way of that knowledge, He saved whoever He willed from His khaliqa, from His creation, from the Arab and from the Ajam, from the non-Arab. والقاصي والداني, the one who was far and the one who was near. إلا من أبى, except for the one who rejected. وهم من قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حقهم, and they are those who the Messenger of Allah said concerning them, كل أمتي يدخلون الجنة إلا من أبى, that all of my ummah shall enter paradise, except for the one who refuses and refuses. قيل, it was said to him, ومن يأبى, it was said to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who will reject and who will refuse to enter paradise? Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah. قال, he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, من أطاعني دخل الجنة ومن عصاني فقد أبى. He said, whoever obeys me, then he shall enter paradise, and whoever disobeys me, فقد أبى, then he has indeed refused. Now, وجاءت الآيات القرآنية تشيد بالعلم وتبين فضله وتحث الأمة عليه. And the Quranic verses, the ayat al-Qur'aniyya, tushid bil-ilm, they speak in praise of knowledge, and they commend knowledge, those verses, the Quranic verses. وتبين فضله, and they make clear the virtues of knowledge. وتحث الأمة عليه, and they encourage the ummah upon that knowledge. ولا شك أن العقلاء هم من يرغبون فيما رغب الله فيه. And there is no doubt that the uqala, those who have intellect, then they are those who desire and seek and they want that which رغب الله فيه, that which Allah encouraged. ويرهبون ما رحب الله منه, and they fear that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disencouraged, that which He warned from, and that which He instilled the fear concerning. Now, ويقبلون ما جاء به نبيهم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم من النصائح والترغيب في العلم, and they accept that which their Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم came with from nasaih, from advice, sincere advice, and those things which he encouraged concerning knowledge. وأنه لا حياة للبشرية إلا في ظل العلم الشرعي ولا تطيب الحياة إلا بذلك ولا تسعد المجتمعات والأمم إلا بالعلم الشرعي. نعم. And so the Shaykh, he says that there is no haya, there is no true life for al-bashariyah, for humanity, except through the dhil of al-ilm al-shari, the shade of the ilm al-shari. وَلَا تَطِيبُ الْحَيَاةِ, and life would not be pleasant, would not be a good life, except through that. وَلَا تَسْعَدْ الْمُجْتَمَعَاتِ, and the societies will not be happy. And likewise the the nations, except through that ilm al-shari. مَحْمَا أُوتُوا مِنَ الْقُوَّةِ مِنْ مَتَاعِ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, whatever they are given from commodities of this worldly life. فحياتهم بالعلم الشرعي وبدونه لا حياة صحيحة. And so their lives, meaning although they may live the life that we see people live in, the standard life, it is not a true life and a happy life, except through the ilm al-shari, and without it there is no correct life or true life. بل حياة الشقاء, rather a wretched life. والعياذ بالله, and Allah's protection is sought from that. ولذا فإن أول سورة أنزلها الله تبارك وتعالى على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم تأمره بالعلم. Therefore, the first surah, the first chapter which Allah revealed upon Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم commands him with knowledge. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, سورة العلق. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, خلق الإنسان من علق. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم, علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Read in the name of your Lord الذي خلق, the one who created. خلق الإنسان من علق, علق, he created man from علق, the clot of blood. اقرأ وربك الأكرم, read, and your Lord is the most generous. الذي علم بالقلم, he who taught through the pen. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم, he taught man that which he did not know. Now, وكان صدر هذه السورة أول ما نزل على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يأمره ربه فيها بالعلم. And so this will, the sadr, meaning the beginning of this surah, Surah Al-Alaq, it was, and that which was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ commands him, or his Lord commanded him through these verses, these first few verses of Surah Al-Alaq. He commanded him with al-ilm, knowledge. وكذا الآية في سورة محمد. Likewise, the verse in Surah Muhammad. أعني قول الله عز وجل, and the Shaykh says, what I intend by that, what I mean is فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله واستغفر لذنبك وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والله يعلم متقلبكم ومثواكم. The verse in Surah Muhammad, know, فاعلم, have knowledge. فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله, have knowledge that none has a right to be worshipped in truth except for Allah. واستغفر لذنبك, and then seek forgiveness for your sin. And for the believers, for the male believers and the female believers, وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مُتَقَلَّبَكُمْ, and Allah knows your movements. Allah knows your movements, وَمَثْوَاكُمْ, and your places of rest. Now, فَإِنَّ فِيهَا الْأَمْرُ بِالْعِلْمِ وَالْعَمَلِ. And so in this verse is a command with knowledge, to acquire knowledge, and a command with action. فَالْبَشَرِيَّةِ كُلُّهَا. And so humanity, بشرية. All of them. بل عالم الإنس والجن كلهم لا غنى لهم من العلم الشرعي. So humanity, all of them, rather the world of men and the world of jinn, all of them. There is no, they are not free from need of that ilm al-shar'i. ولا يمكن أن يتأتى لأحد العلم الشرعي إلا أن يبحث عنه بجد. And it is not possible for a person that he acquires that ilm al-shar'i except through searching for that knowledge. Searching for that knowledge. بجد. يعني in a serious manner, with seriousness. بجد. يعني he takes it seriously. وعزم and determination. He has to have يعني determination and عناية and concern. تفوق عنايته بكل شيء من متاع الحياة. يعني an عناية, a concern and عزم and determination and seriousness which يعني excels and goes above and beyond his concern for everything else from the worldly matters. لذا قال تبارك وتعالى في الآية الكريمة من سورة المجادلة, and this is why Allah تبارك وتعالى, he mentioned in the noble verse in Surah al-Majadila, يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. نعم والله بما تعملون خبير. The verse which al-Bukhārī he used as a proof that Allah will raise those who believe from amongst you and those who are given knowledge. Yani he will raise them by degrees. It's mentioned also in the tafsir because what's come is that Allah will raise both of them. Allah will raise from amongst you those who believe and those who have knowledge. But it's also been mentioned that the meaning is Allah will raise the believers. يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم. Allah will raise those from amongst you who believe. والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. But as for those who have knowledge, they have higher levels. They will be raised more darajat. So that's also coming in tafsir. Now, وهذا وعد من الله تبارك وتعالى. This is a promise from Allah that He will raise them. A promise from Allah. والله لا يخلف الميعاد. And Allah تبارك وتعالى does not break the promise. He doesn't break His promise. بأنه يرفع أهل العلم وأهل الإيمان الذين تعلموا العلم الشرعي وعملوا به ظاهرا وباطنا. يعني the promise that He will raise the people of knowledge and the people of Iman, those who learn that ilm al-shar'i and acted upon it both inwardly and outwardly. Now here's a question though. And the question is this raising their degrees, is that في الدنيا فقط or في الآخرة فقط, or is it in the dunya wal akhirah? Is it in this world alone? Is it in the next life alone? Or is it in both?
In both.
The answer is yes, both. In both. Because Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah raḥimahullāh, he says, al-āya 'amma. The verse is general. The verse is general. Na'am. And so it's in both this life and the next life. And we see this. This is something which is apparent in this life also. Look at the people of knowledge. And so the believer is raised above the disbeliever. He is raised above him. But the alim is raised above the jahil. You see the alim and the one who has knowledge, the scholar, you find that he's raised amongst the people. And it's something which is apparent for those who have seen the scholars and see how the people are, the general believers, how they are with the alim. And the Shaykh mentions a nice point. He says, this is Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah, he says, ولذلك نجد أن العلماء الراسخون في العلم الناصحون لعباد الله. That is why we find the scholars, those who are firmly grounded in knowledge, and those who are sincere advisors to the servants of Allah. نجدهم بين الناس في القمة. We find them amongst the people. They are raised high. They are raised really high. And we saw this even whenever we see the mashayikh, they come to this country. And when we had Shaykh Salim here in this country, we see the people, they flock to the scholars and they have so much reverence, so much love and respect for the alim. And this is something which is in the dunya. Allah raises them in the dunya. وَإِن كَانُوا مِنْ حَيْثِ الْحَسَبِ وَالْغِنَى دُونَ ذَلك. The Shaykh he mentions, even if these scholars, you find that in their hasab, in their status, meaning by way of, they don't really have position, in the يعني worldly matters. They're not rich, but they are raised high. That knowledge, it raises a person. And there's the hadith in Ṣaḥīḥ Muslim, Imam Muslim he records it, al-Bukhārī doesn't record it, but Imam Muslim he records it. The hadith where Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, where he had an amil, he had one who he appointed in Mecca when he would leave. When he would leave Mecca, he would appoint someone to be the leader there on his behalf, and his naib. Nasit Isma, I forgot his name. However, something Ibn al-Harith, his name's not important, but يعني, when he met him in Isfahan, a place near Mecca, after he had left him in Mecca and appointed him as يعني, the leader in Mecca on his behalf. But he met him in Isfahan and he said, who have you left in Mecca then? And he mentioned someone who was a mawla, a freed servant. He was a freed servant. He used to be a slave. And then Umar, he said, you've left a slave in charge? And then he said, إِنَّهُ قَارِئٌ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Qari in those times was an alim لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Not the Qari that we know these days, a reciter of the Quran. Just a reciter, no. He was an alim لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ. He was a scholar and one who had knowledge of the book of Allah. And so then Umar, he turned to him, he said, indeed, your Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْفَعْ بِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ أَقْوَامًا وَيَضَعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ. Indeed, the hadith of Rasul, Umar now is narrating the hadith to him after he told him who he left behind. And he said that he is knowledgeable of the book of Allah, a scholar. He said, indeed your Prophet said, and now he begins to narrate the hadith. Indeed your Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah will raise by way of this Quran a people, and he will bring down others by way of it. Now, and so that's the background behind that hadith. Now, and so we see, and we take from that hadith how Allah raises the people. Even one who had no hasab, and he had no station. He was a slave. People saw him as a slave, but he was raised. He was raised due to that ilm that he was blessed with. Now, وحقا فإن الإيمان الصحيح لا يأتي إلا من طريق العلم الشرعي فوعدهم الله بالرفعة وعلو المنزلة والمحبة والرضوان منه. And truly, that iman, that correct iman, will not come about except through the way of ilm al-shari. And Allah has promised them بالرفعة, with يعني being raised, and علو المنزل, and a high station, والمحبة, and love and pleasure from Him, بسبب علمهم وإيمانهم, due to their knowledge and due to their iman. وكلما كان الإنسان واسع العلم عاملا به فهو أكمل المؤمنين إيمانا. And the more a person increases in his knowledge and has vast knowledge and increases in that, and he acts upon that, then he is the most complete of the believers in his iman. Now, وأقربهم منزلة من ربه تبارك وتعالى, and the closest to his Lord in station. فإذا قرأ المؤمن هذه الآية ونظائرها. And so if the believer, he reads the likes of these verses and any other verses that are like it, or like these two verses, أحب العلم وبحث عنه والتسمه عند أهله. So whichever or whoever from the believers reads the likes of these verses, and he begins to love knowledge, he begins to search for that knowledge, he seeks it from its people. وعمل به ودعا الناس إليه ورغبهم فيه. He acts upon that knowledge, he calls people to that knowledge, and he encourages them on seeking that knowledge. فانتفع هو بنفسه ونفع الله به غيره. And so he himself benefits from that knowledge, and Allah تبارك وتعالى benefits by way of him others. تأسيا بالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في دعوته وسيرته. Taken as an example the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in his da'wah, in his call to Islam, and in his seerah, in his biography. وقال عز وجل وقل ربي زدني علما. And Allah تبارك وتعالى, he said, قل, say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. وهو خطاب للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أمره الله تبارك وتعالى أن يسأله الزيادة من العلم النافع الذي يثمر العمل الصالح. And so Allah, this is an address to the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم. An address to the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, that he asks his Lord for increase. An increase in knowledge, beneficial knowledge. الذي يثمر العمل الصالح, that which gives fruit to righteous actions. وهو العلم بكتاب الله عز وجل وبسنة نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم. And that is that knowledge of the book of Allah and the sunnah of his Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقد علمه الله الكتاب والسنة. Indeed, Allah taught him the Quran and the Sunnah. وحفظ الله تبارك وتعالى هذا العلم الشرعي كما في قوله عز وجل إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. And indeed Allah has preserved this knowledge, as he said in his statement, indeed we have revealed the reminder, يعني the Quran, وإنا له لحافظون, and indeed we shall preserve it and protect it. وهي ميزة لما أنزل على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بالنظر إلى الكتب المتقدمة التي نزلت قبل القرآن. And so this here, this protection of the Quran is a miza. It's a distinguishing feature يعني of that which was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم as it relates to the previous books which were revealed before the Quran. وما جرى عليها من التحريف والتغيير والتبديل, and that which came to them, that which came to those books, and that which happened to those كتب المتقدمة, those previous books, from tahrif, from distortion, and التغيير, alteration, and التبديل, and change. فلما كانت الأمة آخر الأمم, and so when this ummah يعني was the last of the nations, والكتاب آخر الكتب المنزلة من عند الله, والرسالة آخر الرسالات, تكفل الله بحفظ ذلك. And so when this was the last ummah, and the kitab, the book, was the last of the books revealed from Allah, and the last of the messages, نعم, تكفل الله بحفظ ذلك. And Allah يعني took it upon himself to protect يعني to protect that, to protect the kitab. نعم, رحمة بهذه الأمة لئلا تضل عن سواء السبيل. As a mercy to this ummah, that they do not يعني become misguided away from the straight path. إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. Indeed, we reveal the Quran, the ayah again, and we shall indeed preserve it. Now, so the Shaykh, he finishes, and he says, فَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ عَلَى نِعَمِهِ. And so all praise belongs to Allah for his blessings. فهي وصية لاتباع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يلجأوا إلى الله ليزيدهم من العلم النافع. وقل رب زدني علما. So all praise belongs to Allah for his blessings. And this verse is a wasiyah, it is a command, يعني to a command and يعني an advice to the followers of the Prophet ﷺ, that they yalja'u, that they resort back to Allah, and they take يعني refuge in Allah, and they go back to Allah, in that he increases them in beneficial knowledge. وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Now, and Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah, he says that this here is a command from Allah, muwajjahun lil-Rasul. This is a command from Allah which has been directed to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to ask him for a ziyada, an izdiyad in knowledge. وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ الْخَلْقِ, and he is the most knowledgeable of the creation. And so يعني مَنْ دُونَهُ مِنْ بَابِ أَوْلَى, and so whoever is lesser than him, then more so he's more in need of asking for a ziyada. Now, and it is mentioned that Allah did not command the Rasul with يعني seeking an increase in anything except for knowledge, Now, And likewise, Musa alayhi salam, he sought that increase in knowledge. Likewise, he sought that increase in knowledge. As we know from Surah Al-Kahf, where he said to Khidr, he said, هل أتبعك على ما ماذا تعلمني ما مما علمت رشدا. Can I follow you, or may I follow you, that you teach me from that which you have been taught, from that which you have been taught of guidance. If you go back to the tafsir of this, and it's common ahadith, authentic ahadith, in Bukhari and elsewhere, where Musa alayhi salam was asked who the most knowledgeable person upon the earth was, and he said himself. And he didn't say Allah knows best. And remember, فَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, and above everyone who is knowledgeable is one who is more knowledgeable. And so then this occurred to him, where he came to know that there was someone more knowledgeable than him, or someone who had knowledge which he did not have. And so he said to him, هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. May I follow you, that you teach me from that which you have been taught by way of guidance. And likewise, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would say in the dua, Allahumma anfa'ni bima allamtani. Oh, and so the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam fi'lan would make that dua. So Allah commanded him in the Quran to say, zidni ilma, Rabbi zidni ilma, and fi'lan he would do it. In the dua he would say, Allahumma anfa'ni bima allamtani. Oh Allah, cause me to benefit from that which you have taught me. وَانْفَعْنِي مَا عَلَّمْتَنِي, and وَعَلِّمْنِي مَا يَنْفَعُنِي. اللهم انفعني ما علمتني. Oh Allah, cause me to benefit from that which you've taught me. وَعَلِّمْنِي, and teach me. عَلِّمْنِي مَا يَنْفَعُنِي, and teach me that which will benefit me. وَزِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and increase me in knowledge. But look how, even just before, وَعَلِّمْنِي مَا يَنْفَعُنِي, teach me, give me knowledge of that which will benefit me. So he's already asked for knowledge. But then immediately after, وَزِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and increase me knowledge, and زِيَادَةَ عَلَى زِيَادَةَ, increase me upon increase. نعم. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد.